Hello again. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Joshua Helms. I'm going to talk some more about guitar pedals. I'm going to talk about my church board setup as well as my amp and how I get the sounds that I use in church. So let's get into it. All right, starting with the amp. I think this is the most important part of a good tone. You've got to get a good tone at the amp. This is an older version Music Man, thanks to my Uncle John who sent me this amp. I've been loving it ever since. It's got a very similar to like a Fender Twin type sound. All right, I'm going to show you something I'm doing here. I'm leaving it on the normal. Okay, if you go normal, between normal and bright, the bright sounds fantastic. I love it, but it doesn't work in this situation because it brings in some really harsh tones that are not good when you're on a small platform and you're just kind of really blasting each other's ears. So you got to be really careful about things like that. Okay, and then just a couple other things. It's got a master volume. My master's pretty low. My channel volume is, it's about midway. So I don't put a whole lot of volume on this thing, and it's incredibly loud. So because I am on my normal channel, the normal channel gives it more of a bassy tone. So because of that, I compensate with my treble, turn it way up. And I've actually got my bass way down. Now that's going to vary with each and every amp. No matter what amp you plug into, you're always going to have to adjust the settings based on the room that you're in and the instrument you're playing along with and your guitar. This is my always on pedal, Spring Reverb. I think it's a Moski, whatever brand. I can't see the name on it, because my reverb is not working on my amp, so I just leave this on all the time. I don't use a real heavy, what you call a ambient reverb. I love it when people do that. It sounds great, but I'm just not one that uses a lot of that sound. This is my Donner delay pedal, just a regular analog delay. I keep it set at kind of an in-between. I never really set it with each song because that's a lot of changes you have to make with the settings for each song. So I just leave it in a spot where it sounds pretty good for an ambient tone. KMI's analog chorus has kind of a unique chorus sound. One of the less used pedals, but in the right spot it works. This is my all-time favorite. This is, I think it's iSet brand. Dumbler, as its name says, it emulates a Dumble amp. This one is KMI's US Dream. I believe it is kind of emulating like a Fender, like a cranked Fender, when you get that overdrive tone out of a fully cranked Fender, if I'm not mistaken. Regardless, it's basically a distortion, but the smoothest sounding distortion I've ever heard. This is another one of my favorites. This is a Klon knockoff. Not even sure the brand. There's a million of them, and they sound great. This is good for a really light overdrive. And then move on to a Rat, or as Donner calls it, a Dark Mouse, which is one I don't use a lot, but there are places for it, believe it or not. Okay. And then my compressor. What brand is that? Azure. And again, I just keep it set at a pretty basic, where it just gives it kind of a tightens up the sound a little bit, and it's good for kind of funky chords like old school gospel kind of sound. Great for all that. So there's my entire pedal board. Got them all in one line because I'm clumsy. So if I'm trying to reach over another pedal to hit another one, I'm gonna fall down. So there we go. Now I'm going to put this camera up and grab my guitar and show you a little bit of how I use them in context. All right, so I'm just going to show you the tones, each kind of one at a time. Let's turn this reverb off. Now here's the amp alone without any reverb. Sounds great even without any reverb on it. Normally I'm one that I always use reverb, but you can hear it's reverberating inside the building here. It does have cathedral ceiling, so definitely puts a nice natural reverb on it. But most of the time I'm still going to keep this reverb on. Alright, so that's about where it stays. Not too much that it kind of gets in the way of the notes, but just enough to kind of thicken it up a little bit. Alright, so there's my reverb, stays on all the time. Let's move on to my Donner analog delay here. I haven't quite learned how to do all that cool stuff where they use the delays as part of the rhythm. You know, it's cool, but I don't know how to do it. So I just use it as an ambience, and that works. It works really good in slow songs. Just kind of leave the delay in there, and it just thickens the sound up a little bit. That would be about how I would use it. Sounds even better when we add some overdrive to it. Let's go to the chorus first. It's a unique sounding chorus. My favorite, this is my Dumbler. I can set it even lighter than that. At one time before I had the Klon, I used it as really light overdrive. Now it's more my kind of next level overdrive. And it'll go much heavier than that too, but I use a heavier overdrive like that for lead more than I do chords. Like in that intro song. It can be a little bit too heavy, but if you use it in the right place, it's fine. But when I use it for lead. Now we move on to this is what I refer to as a distortion. I'm not sure if it's technically a distortion or an overdrive. Is there a difference? I don't know. Pretty heavy. Again, I use it as and where it really works best. Maybe I'll show you if I can get a guitar, get an angle on my guitar. But I turn the tone on my guitar way down. I get that Carlos Santana kind of sound. I do the same thing here. Yeah, that's where I use a heavy distortion like that. Let's go back to my distortion. overdrive in the song, I go to this one. This is the kind of a clone. That always sounds funny to say, clone. So that would be where I use that. And yes, I am out of tune. I'm not even going to fix it. Sometimes we go into these choruses where we're playing rhythms like. I can stack these other overdrives on top of it. I'm here, and I want to keep this tone, but maybe I just want to boost the volume just a tad, or boost the distortion level just a tad for maybe a little lead line I'm going to play. Again, I use that rat tone, go up to my front pickup, do that Carlos Santana tone, just take the tone knob all the way down. That's where I use it. Very rarely do I use it, but there are places that I can use it like that. Again, for lead, not real good for rhythm. I mean, it's great for rhythm if you're playing rock, but that's not usually the way I'm going. And then I've got my compressor here, so just regular clean tone. Let's do something kind of old school gospel. Makes it pop. Cool tone, and then it works really good when you're using your distortions. It makes the notes sing a little bit. until next time, we'll see you later.